All right, we are live. This is Mike Long here, and I am here with Street Smart Joe. This is an exciting event. We put together this blog for a couple reasons. We're going through this perfect storm event right now, and it's so crazy. There's so much electricity, excitement in the air, cotton's throwing down. Then that makes Liz come in the door, and she's kicking the door down. She's fired up. David Mills is fired up. Our whole team, and why not? I mean, there's money flying around all over the place out there. There is. It's just out there. You got to be able to get to it. I'm not saying that you can just sit there and like drool on the couch and hold out your hand and it'll come to you. It's not the way it is, but it's out there. It's gettable, but there's steps. There's steps that have to be taken, and I think that anyone who I want to be talking to about this right now, you got to be in a place where you understand, hey, look, there's steps, right? Now, your steps may be a little bit different than the next guy or the next gal's steps, but there's steps to be taken. There's a certain number of work moves that need to be made, a certain number of keystrokes, a certain number of mouse clicks. Might even be a lot of mouse clicks. Might be a lot of mouse clicks, might be a lot of keystrokes, right? Mm-hmm. But we're here today with Street Smart Joe. And Street Smart Joe, this is so exciting because as this whole situation has come together, as this whole perfect storm situation has come together surrounding OMG Special Ops, it really finally gave us the chance to just dig in to Joe's wheelhouse. And Joe, I was the other day ago, I was watching one of those Avengers movies. I think it was like the Captain America movie, and it reminded me of another Iron Man movie. I like Iron Man. He's a pretty cool character with Robert Downey Jr. nowadays. And they had an Iron Man movie recently, and more and more they've been doing this. But he has like all these suits of armor that come down and fight for him, right? So it's like there's Iron Man, right, and he's got this suit of technologically amazing armor or whatever. And that's what makes him Iron Man. That's the comic book idea if you're not into comic books. So he's got like this, not magical, but amazing suit of armor. But in the most recent Iron Man movie, it was so cool. He actually just starts. David Mills is calling. Let me just tell him 1 second. Hey, David, I'm on with Joe recording right now. I'll call you when I'm done. Okay, great, no problem. All right, there's no way around that. So, anyways, back to Iron Man. So, at the end of the movie, the way he like triumphs. Hopefully, spoiler alert here. So, if you're want to watch Iron Man 3, like you can pause the recording or whatever. But anyways. He has all these different armors that he's been tinkering on, and he's like remote controlling all of them. And he gets like 10 Iron Mans come to just kick the crap out of the bad guy. And for some reason, Joe, that reminds me of you. Like you're like Iron Man yourself, where you constructed this incredible business around you with all this automation, all these moves, but then you almost like literally just take it to the next level because this event right here, this recording, what we're going to be talking about right now, we're going to get into Joe's background, but it's so sexy because we're going to talk about outsourcing apprentice. Yeah, what if you wanted to be a superhero, right? And Tony Stark was going to take you, Tony Stark, Iron Man, was going to take you under his wing and show you how to make not just your own suit of armor and how to fix it and make it more powerful, blah, 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 but how to make all these other suits so they could just go and do stuff for you, protect the weak and innocent, and do anything else. That to me is Street Smart Joe, because Joe, he just has such a mind for this, and it's teachable. It's teachable. It's something that you can get to your advantage. And Joe will just get an army of outsourcers working for him at just pennies on the dollar, where they're very happy, where all those steps, those keystrokes, those mouse clicks are getting automated, right? What is that doing? That's putting time on your side. That's what this is going to be all about. So first of all, I want to introduce you to the man behind the mask, Street Smart Joe. Joe has just automated his move from New York to Colorado. So he's just situated into a brand new home. Congratulations on your new home and on your move, Joe. So glad to have you here, man.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's good to be here. Yeah, we just got here. Our stuff actually just got here yesterday, and we're just moving in. And beautiful Carbondale, Colorado. So, it's great. And it's great to be on with you like always.
Yeah, man, this is really cool. To get a little bit more into this kind of Ironman, and I've heard it described different ways. I've heard Liz Herrera at OMG Live. She was talking about you, and she was relating all the OMG coaches to like Dungeons and Dragons characters or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. Kind of like high fantasy characters. And she said that you were like this necromancer that we got like an army of zombies to get up and go and do your bidding. And there's a bunch of different ways of putting it, but I really like the Ironman analogy to me, because it really, you do have this way. I've also called you Joe MG, like Joe OMG, Joe MG. Joe knows OMG. Okay, Joe knows the moves that we're making up and down, left and right. He knows Greg Morrison SEO, right? He knows the moves that we're making, and it's all, he makes mental notes of it, and he understands how these things are done. But then he can get them implemented in this way, and it's amazing. I go to Joe, okay? I reach out to Joe when I just don't know how to break through a bottleneck or something like that. If it's a tech thing, how do I know that this software could be really great, but I'm stuck here, whatever. Bam, I'll call him up. I'll be like, Street Smart Joe. That's what I'll always say. And Joe, he'll go into Ironman mode and get it sorted out. But it wasn't always this way. And I want you to know, it's not like Joe's, just like Ironman, in the movies, he has a backstory. He was, doing some sort of a job, and then he got kidnapped, and that led to this whole Ironman situation. Joe, you kind of got kidnapped by your life. You were somebody, you were always very entrepreneurial. You worked your ass off, pardon my French, to get a foothold, to start finally. This is in a day and age really before the internet was really like what it is right now, the opportunity is right now. And you did these traditional style businesses. You've sold granite, you've done all this different stuff, and you got to a point, you'd done all this work, you finally salted away some money. And then with that economic collapse that hit us, in the late 2000s, you got kidnapped. You were like financially kidnapped, right, by the circumstances of your life. And you really needed to change your stars. But it was not like, it wasn't the kind of thing where you just play some, fast motion movie sequence like in one of these kind of romantic comedy movies where the nerds take on the jocks and they go through a training sequence with music and stuff like that. And next thing you know, they're incredible and amazing. You did come out the other side incredible and amazing, but you went through a difficult time, a heartbreaking time. And there are people right now that are watching who are just doing great. But there are also, many of those people have gone through a challenging time. They've gone through a difficult time. What was it like for you? Take me back to when you're sitting on your couch and you realize that you kind of like hit rock bottom, because you built a business, you sold the business, and then just the stock market collapse. Your money gets wiped out. You've got your back to the wall. Take me back to those days, because it's far different than where you are these days. You're just so successful now.
Yeah, Mike, it's like, just like you said, ever since I was young, in my late 20s, I always owned a business or businesses. I bought and sold them. And one thing about my life and everything, as I grew up, when I was younger, my dad was in construction, and we always had these very high highs where he was making a lot of money, and lows when the market, or when real estate would go down and building would go down, we wouldn't have a lot of money. And I remember thinking, man, when I grow up, I have a family, I don't ever want those highs and lows. So I always, would look at business and owning, different businesses. And so I always had cash flow coming in, and I always had, 3 to 4 levels of, I had money here, savings here. So I always tried to protect myself the best I can. And like you said, one of the business I had is we imported granite and travertine from Italy and Brazil. We started that business with about $20,000, and I ended up selling it for almost $2 million, right in 2008. Well, that transition between 2007, 2008, I was also very heavily invested in real estate. and a lot of other things. And like a lot of people know here, well, the market just crashed. And me at that time, I never had bad credit. I always paid my bills. So I was upside down in these huge construction loans that were just at ridiculous percentage of interest. And I just kept paying them until finally, I paid them and I was almost out of money. And some other situations happened where basically, after about, a couple of years, all my savings were gone. And it's like if you could ever think of the thing that you're most afraid of, or that you think, man, I don't ever want this to happen. Well, that's, it's like that was it. And that happened with me. I was, like you said, I was sitting on the couch and, I'm sitting there wondering what to do now. I'm married now at this time. I have 3 kids, 3 very young kids. And my wife, who we were together for, 15 years, I always had a plan and I always had a backup plan. So she never had to worry about money or anything else. And I remember sitting there on the couch and my kids are there and I'm looking at them and my wife said, well, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, what do you mean you don't know? You always know. And I was it. It was like the rug was pulled out from under me and I was paralyzed with dread, with fear, with regret, everything. Right. So I couldn't even move for like 2 days. And I know I told this before, and the real low part was when my wife came back with an application to Home Depot, and she's like, well, why don't you just, apply to Home Depot and at least get a job? And to me, that was like a nail in the coffin, because not that working at Home Depot is bad, but when you come from where I was, where I hired people who had college degrees, the salary from Home Depot wouldn't even get me an apartment and food for my family. Like I couldn't live on that. It was $600 a week. That's crazy. We would lose absolutely everything. And it was a very, very low point. And then, from there, I had a couple of choices, because I have a background. I can do different things. There was a friend of mine who worked for the government and the military, and he said, well, I can get you work, working on different bases as a military contractor doing different things. And, it was good pay. It would pay me enough money to get by, but I was away from my family for 2 weeks out of the month. I mean, I'd be in Japan, I'd be in Guam, I'd be all over at these bases doing different, it wasn't dangerous work, but it was away from a family, and it wasn't the life that I wanted, right? Because growing up, that I wanted my when I had a family, for my kids to experience different things. Before we were married, me and my wife, we traveled to Brazil, to Peru, to Ecuador, to Italy, all over the world, and that's what I wanted for my kids. And then this wasn't happening. And so it was a decision I had to make to say, okay, I'm going to try to do this internet marketing. So I just searched how to make money online, and it wasn't a quick go around, right? It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. And there was a point at the turn of it was 2011. I remember it was January. And I said, listen, I talked to my wife. I said, listen, we have a little bit of money. I said, I'm just going to dedicate everything to making money online. And I'm not going to do any more work. I'm going to be home. And she says, okay, well, we'll make it work. And that was it. My back was to the wall. It was either make it or break it. If I didn't make it, I was going to be in worse shape than I was before. But if I made it, there was untold things that we can do. And this isn't a story like 2 weeks later, I started making money because I bought some program. It was a very, there wasn't a lot out there at the time for me to grasp onto. So I went through a lot of programs trying to figure different things out. And because I had a background in business, I focused on local businesses. And Mike, I can tell you, January 1st, I went and I found every Chamber of Commerce, every business network meeting that's available. Anywhere I can get in front of a business, I went. Now, I'm not a salesman. When I had my granite business and my other businesses, I hired.
Yeah, I was going to say you are really introverted. I mean,
Oh,
people don't even know. Like you now, even from when I met you, all the way back in say late 2012, early 2013. Now you're like Mr. Personality these days. But back in the day, you were very closed off, and really interacting with people made you nervous.
oh yeah, even doing something like this, I'd sweat it for 2 days. Like I'd probably put this off because I don't, I like you said, like I do a lot where I'm very strategical. So I could sit behind and figure, okay, I'm going to have this guy do this. So even in all my business,
you're so strategical that you invent new words for it. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
but it's like, but it was like where I didn't have to be in front. I was always behind. And, that's worked out well. Well, now I had to be out in front. So I just went to every meeting I could. And, at first, when I first started going, the first thing I did was I'd go there, I'd look around, I'd go to the bathroom. I said, because I was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you would like literally like hide out in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Like you just didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Like the whole time I kept thinking is I got to get out of here. And I did. Sometimes I left. And then it was like, okay, I left. Now what? I got to go back. I got to go again. I got to do something. So I figured out a system, a way of talking to people that was comfortable for me, comfortable for them. But it took a while. And I went and I pitched to businesses, me doing their marketing. And I probably got, 50 no's before I got a yes. But, all it took was that one yes. And then I got another yes and another yes, another. So if you fast forward, January started, you fast forward to May, June, in that 60 days, I closed $100,000 worth of business. Now it's not, oh man, I made $100,000 in a month, right? It was a process of learning, of doing things, of
yeah, because now you had to fulfill upon those agreements. You had to collect the money, and then you ran into the next major thing that a lot of people run into was you didn't have OMG in your life at that point. You didn't have Greg Morrison in your life. So suddenly, like fulfilling on this stuff, you could do it, but it was a heavy lift, and you were scrambling again.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, so now I have all these contracts I have to fulfill on, and it was a huge lift. It was like, for me to do it all myself, I'd be working, 18 hours a day doing this stuff. And
it's not that you're above that. I want to point this out. It's not like you're above when you're saying that this stuff is challenging you. When you were on the couch thinking about, going to Home Depot or whatever it was, or thinking about doing 18 hours of work to fulfill these clients. I want to make a distinction for somebody at home because I know Joe very well. It's not that Joe has no problem with working his ass off. Okay, he has no problem with that. What he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to dig his own grave. That's what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to be working like literally in the wrong direction. And that's the fear, right, Joe, is that not only would you be working 18 hours a day, but in a way where ultimately you would just be getting behind. You wouldn't be able to land new clients. You wouldn't be able to be doing the research. So, every one of those 18 hours that you'd be putting in would be all kind of at a lower return on investment as time went on. You'd be like sinking in quicksand at that point.
Yeah.
Because there's a major research component that you had to be doing, an automation component that you need to be doing. You're just talking about the raw work of it at this. And I want to make this distinction for somebody watching right now, because if you don't know what it's like, right, to be on both sides of this online money getting thing, right? Because what we want to do is we want to be making money online, but we want it to be sustainable. Right? And it's not sustainable if your workload is in essence increasing over time, because there is a research component that you need to be doing. There is a strategy component. You need to be going out seeking new business. So that 18 hours was going to be like, yes, doing part of the work, but there would be a whole nother part of the work you would literally be ignoring if you did it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, it boils down to this too. Is on right now, what we know is we only have so many minutes, seconds, hours, and days on this earth, right? On this planet with our loved ones, with people. That's it. Like after this hour, I'm never going to get that hour back, no matter how much money I have. Right. So time is so important to me. So valuable. And like you said before, and it's not that I'm above anything. Well, if I had to work at Home Depot, I would. If I had to work here, I would. And to give you a contrast to that, right at that same time, I had a friend of mine who he also was invested in real estate, a lot entrepreneur like me, who he had a chance to go work for American Express starting at $100,000 a year, right? And he said, I can get in with that same offer. And I chose not to. He chose to do it. So his life for the following 4 years was get up at 7, get to work, sit behind a cubicle, be home by 6. And he'll get raises. I think he's at $120,000 right now for the year, which, that's not a life. That, to me, my time is more valuable than that. And I can't leverage that. That's just, I'm just wasting my life away. And, but now if you take that and you apply to, like you said, like work and fulfilling, like once I had all the contracts in my business, my whole thing is systems, how to maximize and grow and scale. That's how I did my granite business. That's how we went from turn $20,000 into $2 million was all systems and scaling. So if I'm behind my computer fulfilling everything that I can get somebody for $3 an hour to do, then it's not that I don't want to say, well, then I'm worth, it's what it is it's
well, I'll tell you what you're worth. I'll tell you what anybody's worth. You're worth what you get. That's right. It. And this is where we come from. When I come out and say to people, and maybe it's controversial, but when I come out and say, look, you build or you beg. And I'm coming from a standpoint, I grew up in half trailer park, half low income house, housing development. When I came home at night, I didn't know if there was going to be food on the table. Usually there was. And it wasn't because my mom was lazy. She worked her ass off. She did the dream. Like Joe was saying, she got a master's degree and all this stuff. But guess what? That's where we wound up. And it was scary, right? It was scary. And the thing was, we had no leverage. And that's why every day was scary. If something broke in the car, like everyone would just be like, oh God, what now? I mean, it would just, maybe she could borrow the money from my grandfather, or maybe not. Maybe he wouldn't have it. It was scary, right? And when we're looking at this stuff like this, what Joe is saying, one angle on it is you build or you beg. And that guy going to his job, maybe it's easier for that first 6 months of the job that he had, or for the first year of the job, because he would just go and punch a clock and blah, blah, blah. But Joe, whose life is easier now, it's crazy. I mean, you're probably, some months Joe's making more in that month than that guy makes in a whole year. And that's for a good job. I mean, 6 figures in a month. So the thing is, but that has to be built, like to go back to this Iron Man metaphor. Iron Man can't just, believe in himself and, and then say, okay, now I'm going to go take on the bad guys without the suit of armor and without the other suits of armor that can then fight for him. Like the preparation that he did, that's what put him in place. And that's what you're saying, Joe, is that you are going to build your GD mother effing leverage. You are going to build your leverage. You are not going to live your life on your knees. You're going to live it on your feet. And that's what you've done. You've opened it up for other people as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's not like that when you're fulfilling tasks, whatever, for clients or whatever you're doing, if you're first starting and you're fulfilling it yourself, that's fine. You have to learn what you're doing. But as soon as you can hire, if I can hire somebody for $3 an hour, put them on a set of tasks, then I can train someone else, put them on a set of tasks, and I have a couple with 2 outsourcers, you could run $100,000 a month business, right? To where now you're free, like you said. So now if they're doing the tasks to fulfill, I'm free to go in the market. I'm free to network. I'm free to do other things and expand my business into other areas. And Mike, the other thing is what we didn't talk about it is after I started my business, right? And I got that $100,000 in sales. Then I met you and I met Greg, and it made my business so much easier because now I actually had a blueprint of how to rank and how to fulfill correctly. And I remember talking with you, and I said, listen, and David, I said, man, I really want to make $30,000 a month passive. And we talked about doing affiliate. And you got connected me with an affiliate product that was coming out. And, and I remember the summer, I think it was 2012, or 13, where I launched my affiliate program. And because I had those outsourced already in place, they knew how to do certain, that when I went into this affiliate where I was selling this weight loss program, I just put them in. It was an easy transition. It was easy to do. And then it allowed me and my wife.
And it was shocking for me, by the way. It was shocking for me because, I mean, you were just like, yeah, I'm going to make 30 grand a month passive. That's what I want to do. And you made, I mean, it just started, like, paychecks just started exploding for you. Next thing you know, you were in, like, Costa Rica.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, again, it goes back to my main goal is to travel with my family. And so now that allowed me, I still have my clients bringing me in money. I had this passive affiliate money coming in. So that October, me and my wife went to Costa Rica for a year. We spent a year on the beach in Costa Rica where my kids learned how to surf. They learned a new language. It was just an incredible time that we said. Now, the whole time I'm in Costa Rica, right? My buddy, he's still working 10 hours a day in Phoenix, 8 in life. And I'm loving life in Costa Rica. And then my dad was sick. So we decided to move to New York where my family, where I grew up. So my kids could reconnect with their cousins. So we were there for a year and a half. And then we said, well, let's move to Colorado. So now here we are in Colorado. And it's all because back at that moment, back in 2011, I decided to make a change that say, I'm not going to go this route. I'm going to go this route at first is going to be a little harder, right? Because I'm going to have to be more entrepreneurial. It's unknown, right? But I went down that path and I stayed on that path. And then I learned how to build systems and leverage and everything else so that my business could run without me. I mean, so when I'm moving to Costa Rica, I'm driving and things are going on. My team is still working away, still fulfilling tasks, still doing things that allows me to expand. So now I have clients, I do affiliate, I'm working on software, like I'm in. So I got money coming in from multiple directions, and I couldn't do that if I was the main, cook, dishwasher.
What is it? Chief cook and bottle washer. Now, you've opened up the world. Like when I think of outsourcing, at this point, I see the world through, the lens that you showed me. It's very, very different the way that you handle things, the way than I've seen anybody else. And we've got some incredible people in OMG that we can also tap on and get, even more help from on specific tasks, like Mike Bittler when it comes to Amazon. He's just incredible with outsourcing. So he's, we have these rich resources. But Joe, one of the things that you showed me, and I want everyone to gain from this interview, because this to me is such a powerful thing. I thought about, I had employees when I first opened a game store, and there was one point at which I had, 10 part-time and full-time employees. It was crazy. And the thing about it was that they would come and they would go, and it was just one guy would be really good, another guy would be bad. I would get somebody trained, and then they would be gone, and it was just such an uneven process. And it really, I mentioned digging a grave. I mean, I really practically dug myself my own grave with doing that. I wasn't good at it, and it was very difficult. So I was very nervous about using outsourcers and stuff like that. You showed me how you do it, Joe. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant the way that Joe does it. I'm going to share, regardless of whether you can get in on special ops or not, if you can, you got to do it. I mean, this alone, this is a bonus for special ops, but it's so valuable. This is so valuable. This, to me, when we first asked Joe to come on board and become an OMG player coach, I was so excited. I was so excited for so many things that Joe could bring to the table. But for me, in my heart, the number one thing was for Joe to open up the world of outsourcing to you. Okay, that was the biggest thing, and he's done that inside of our main OMG program. But he really wanted to take it almost to a totally different level during this special ops time. In the next few months as we kind of race into 2017. So, because there's the traditional track and then Joe's track. So what I saw with outsourcers, I've been involved with outsourcing. I've seen it. I've hired designers. I've hired outsourcers. I've hired people to do labor for me here and there. What it was like was I would try to find somebody good. I would try to tell them what to do. Maybe they'd have a burst of energy at the beginning and get some stuff done. Maybe crickets. Maybe nothing would happen. But all I know is that never like 6 months from the time when I laid out a task, there was never anybody there. There's no task anymore. Like, so let's say I hired somebody to help with customer service for my e-commerce business. Then 6 months later, that person would be gone, right? And there would be no more outsourcing going on. That task would be withering on the vine. I would have gone through maybe one, maybe two, maybe three people that, functionally speaking, and maybe I'm just an idiot, right? I mean, maybe this is a problem with me. I don't know. But I've been pretty successful at other tasks, right? So at least I can do something right. And so that's what it was like for me. For Joe, oh man. So first of all, I've already made like the wrong step. You see, the funny thing is the way Joe does it, Joe, the way you do it now is you set up a whole world for the outsourcers. You're not like, just like you don't want to do, let's say the manual task of entering in a bunch of email addresses, from something that you have. Like, let's say that's the task, or it's doing some customer service stuff, or maybe it's getting some coding done. Whatever the task is, right? There's something that you don't want to do, that you want automated or semi-automated. What I'm thinking is, okay, so step one, go and look for somebody and start training them. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's what most people think, Joe, but that's not what you do. That's not what you do at all. You set up a world for that person. You set up a little, like almost like a training program, and then you start getting like almost like applicants, and you see who. I mean, it's a brilliant process, and that way you have a system for these people to create it. You have a system for making a system. Is really what you have.
Right. I mean, this is business, okay? And I think the biggest thing when people get into internet marketing, they think, oh, I'm going to have my laptop, I'm going to be making money from the beach, and that's it. Money's going to pour in my bank account. No, this is a business. You view whatever you do online, no matter what it is, whether it's Amazon, local, whatever, it's a business, and you have to set it up as a business. So if we think about businesses, right, we think about your game store, Mike, right? So you had your game store, you had employees, and you're always struggling with those employees. But then we look at GameStop all over the country, right? GameStop, and they're all successful,
right?
And you think about, okay, how many times have you seen a local coffee shop open up in a neighborhood and then just go out of business because they can't sustain it?
Happens all the time, yeah.
Right, but yet Starbucks is hugely billion-dollar business, just off the chart.
$19 billion a year.
Right, just amazing business, and you can go on with McDonald's, all these other things. Well, what do they have in common? Is they're all franchises or they're corporate owned, where they have a strict set of systems that the employees follow. If I go into Starbucks in LA, I'm going to get the same experience if I go to Colorado, New York, even in Costa Rica, right? Because it's all systemized. And that's what I did with my grant, going back to my import business, is we were all over the place with different processes and everything. And then I boiled it down to where we created systems for every single task. And so my employees became cogs in a wheel. If this guy decided to leave, okay, fine. Boom. I hire someone else. Here's the training, the system. If they can follow it, they fill that spot. It's a very easy transition. Instead of everything, this guy is taking care of this whole part of my business. When he leaves, I don't even know how to fulfill it, and I'm lost. Well, so now we take that onto the online marketing world. It's just like you said, like I have a training just for my outsourcers, to where if it's a simple task, like say creating email accounts, I have a step-by-step videos on how they do it. We have a PDF on how they do it. It's a system. We have a checklist. So when they start the task, there's no way they can't. If they can't do this task within 3 days, then I get rid of them. I get somebody else because I make it so dead simple. So now once I make these systems of tasks for each thing that we have to do, right? Then my outsourcers are happy because they know exactly what to do. I'm not every night on the computer. Okay, do this. Oh, this problem happened. Okay, well, do this, because every problem that is foreseen is put in there. So it's all done. Now, say I hire an outsourcer and they work great for 6 months, and then they disappear because these things happen. They just leave sometimes. Well, then I interview a couple more. and I say, okay, here's your, I give them the task, go to this page and follow this. And then they follow it. And if they can do it, then if they can do the task without me having to intervene, then they're hired. And that's it. And that's what makes everything flow smooth, is getting these systems down. And with a lot of people, where they go wrong with this is they have these tasks and they think, okay, it's going to take me too long to create the system. Let me just hire them and show them what to do. Okay. And then what happens is they spend all this time showing this person what to do. Then if that person doesn't work out, they have to do it again. They have to do it again. But if they just sat down for a couple of days, created those systems, then it's almost like the cog you could plug and play. And now you're like that franchise, right? You're like Starbucks, to where all of a sudden, you know, if you're helping out, say, clients, you get 4 clients, fine, plug them in. Or you're doing this thing with Amazon, like, you know, like Michael Bittler, you know, incredible systems for his Amazon business. You know, you just plug it in and it works. That's why when I went from, you know, the different things I do is I have clients where we help them with their local business, right? Then I went to do affiliate. Well, for affiliate, I had to create videos. I had to create a website. Well, my outsourcers already knew how to do that because they were trained from the local. So boom, that stream came in very easy. If I didn't have that outsourcers, you're talking.
You already had 99% of everything set up. Let me show you something here. This book, I don't know how well people can see it. This is called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. You know, Amazon bookstore or whatever it is, and so I remember reading the E-Myth, and it basically what it's about is it identifies like this thing that happens that causes like a lot of businesses to fail, where you'll have the technician from the business. Let's say it's the cook at a restaurant for simplicity, and that guy will look around and say, well, this is $1 million restaurant, right? And everyone's eating my food, and so I'm the one that's making this happen. So that guy will strike out on his own to open up a new business. But Joe, he fails. He like 19 out of 20 times he fails, and even if he does succeed, it's slow and painful, and he doesn't succeed because he's a great chef. That's not why. And it's the exact same thing that you're saying, Joe. That's what the E-Myth is about, is these technicians who just decide that they're business people, you know, that they understand sustainable money getting, and they don't. Right? They do exactly what I just said. They go out there, they don't understand about systems, they don't understand about setting up structure in their business for their, and it's not even about a business, Joe. It has, in fact, hardly anything to do with the business. It's just you go directly for sustainable money getting, right? Like you don't care about, it's not about a brand, it's not about a job, it's not even about a business. You are just plugging in to these streams of income. Affiliate, boom, plug in. You're 99% of the way there. You already have your system set up. You're like, okay, great, boom, I'm in. You know, your first affiliate website made $60,000. Your first one, you know, like shot out of a cannon. It's crazy. You know, you decide that you're going to, whatever you're going to do, expand your lead generation business. Right. Boom, it's done. Right. But that's the thing is you're not that technician who just decides that he's a special snowflake and that he should have a business built around him. You're building that structure, and with this with the outsourcing apprentice program, for the first time ever, we're taking a dedicated program here with your dedicated focus for months here, where people are going to be able to see you doing outsourcing, you putting projects together, getting their questions answered, specific, focused on outsourcing, because we have such incredible stuff inside of special ops with what Cotton is sharing with you, with even what Liz is sharing with you. You're going to show how these things can be automated, how you can breathe life into them. You know, just like, you know, like I said, if Iron Man sees a whole army of villains, he's just like, great, I'm going to design a suit of armor or several suits of armor, and they're going to go out and they're going to kick the villains' butts. Yeah,
no, and Mike, in that E-Myth, I mean, that was the foundation. Like when I had my granite business, E-Myth has a course. It's, you know, the course is like $20,000 for the year. And, you know, I took it when I had put my business into a franchise type business. And that's the other way I was able to sell it. You know, I sold it. I handed him a book of systems and they bought, you know, that's how I sold it for so much. But that E-Myth it's exactly, that's that technician. That's why his business went up and down. And that's how a lot of people view business is it's all me. Well, what happens if something happens to you? What if you get sick for 2 weeks? It's like that's why building these systems are so important. And it's like you said, like plug and play. Like if I want to build a lead gen business, which means is I put up a site and I sell leads to contractors, I just choose the niche and that's it. And then they go out and build it. So it's going to be incredible. And I think when with Amazon, with everything else we're showing in special ops, I mean, this is how you take a $5,000 a month business, turn into a $50,000 a month business without having to put 1,000 times more effort into it.
And sometimes it's the difference between even success and failure. Sometimes it's the difference between a zero, like a venture that makes zero, and starts spitting out money like crazy. So it can be that threshold. And again, you don't even need this. Like, this doesn't have to be business oriented. I mean, the matter of fact is that you're plugging in to these streams, and that's it. And here's like if it was your son, and all pride aside, of course. And you could either give your son that $20,000 course, the eMyth thing, the program, whatever it was that you got, or they could get just your part of special ops, just your outsourcing apprentice program. I mean, I would take your outsourcing apprentice program in a second. To me, it's a ridiculous even question, and that's not to say that I'm not here bashing eMyth. Right, I literally brought it up, but like, look what you're able to bring to the table. Look at all the bull that you're able to cut out, and how it's all focused towards online money getting. I mean, to me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if it was your son, which would you rather have had?
Oh yeah, I mean, hands down. Like I said, I took that course back, in 2004, and it was business oriented. I had a coach who never owned a business, right? So he never owned a business. All he could do is follow through the textbooks and whatever, but it worked for me because I was able to put the pieces together. My outsourcing is going to be, this is what I do, right? I own several companies. This is how I do it. I mean, the special ops is worth, 10 times what that eMyth course was, because for that course, you had to have an existing business, and all it did was show you how to structure it. Here in this special ops, you have people making $700,000 a month. Liz, $100,000 plus a month. People making actual money. So you're learning how to make money, how to scale. Like everything's in here. So there's not even really a comparison at all.
Yeah, and the real thing that we wanted people to have, what you're getting with special ops, is a running start into OMG 2017, and that, I mean, the biggest question we've had is, what's the best way for me to get a running start into 2017? I want to get inside of OMG. I want to change my stars. And we have crafted this specifically to give you that running start. And I think, to me, it's just incredible. I am so excited about Joe's outsourcing apprentice program. I think it's just literally going to be incredible. And I'm so excited that we're doing it. Finally, Joe, you've been such an inspiration for so many people. I just want to give you the final words. And I'm excited about this project upcoming.
No, Mike, I'm glad you had me on. No, I'm excited to do it because, I know this is an area where people struggle. And like you said, I think it's something that can be the difference between success and failure. And even if people are thinking, well, I don't know if I could afford an outsourcer right away, it's not just hiring an outsourcer. It's creating the system so you can get things done. So even if you're the person doing it at first, without the systems, you're scattered, but with the systems, you're extremely focused. You could turn an 8-hour day into a 3-hour day just by being systemized. So, that's what's going to be. And, I look forward to having everyone on the webinars, interacting with people. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited about this special ops program.
It's going to be incredible. All right, guys. Thanks so much. God bless.